Good morning, I'm Angelo Castro III.
I'm Angela, and we are the Castros.
We bring you the news.
And the views that make you think.
Sometimes we agree.
Sometimes we don't.
This is News and Views.
And here are today's headlines.
Senator Imee Marcos alleged that her brother, President Bongbong Marcos, is using illegal drugs during the second day of Iglesia ni Cristo's rally on November 17.
Two more changes in the Marcos cabinet as Executive Secretary Lucas Bersabin and Budget Chief Amena Pangandaman exit.
House leaders are questioning the credibility of former Representative Saldico following his bombshell allegations against President Bongbong Marcos and former House Speaker Martin Romualdez.
Quiapo Church has announced the route for the traditional Black Nazarene procession in January 2026.
First in the news, Iglesia ni Cristo's anti-corruption rally at Quirino Grandstand ended in drama as Senator Imee Marcos made explosive allegations against President Bongbong Marcos and the First Lady. Here's the report.
The Iglesia ni Cristo ended their anti-corruption rally at the Quirino Grandstand on Monday night. This was confirmed by INC spokesperson Edwil Zabala. The protest sought accountability from officials allegedly involved in corruption. During a surprise appearance, Senator Imee Marcos accused her brother, President Bongbong Marcos, and First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos of using illegal drugs.
Tatanakan kami ni Bongbong. Alam na ng buong pamilya ang problema sa kanya. Batid ko na nagda-drug siya. Nalaman ng pamilya, seryoso ito. Minsan, kami ng Presidential Guard at Metro Bospa ang naglilinis tuwing nagpa-party po sila. Pinsi ko pa si Bongbong, pakasalan mo na si Lisa. Naisip ko noon, kapag nag-asawa siya, malalagay na sa tahimik at magkakaroon ng direksyon. Ang laki ng pagkakamali ko. Mas lumala ang kanyang paglulong, magkalulong sa droga. Parehas pa na silang mag-asawa.
Senator Imee also urged her younger brother to stop and expressed concern for his health.
Bongbong, nag-aalala sa'yo si Manang. Tuwing nakikita kita sa TV, gusto kitang puntahan. Napakalaki ng pinagbago mo. Itsura, pagsasalita, takbo ng pag-isip. Minsan, napapatanong ako sa sarili ko, ikaw pa ba yan? Si Bongbong ba talaga yung nakikita ko? Pero ako, aling ko, ako pa rin ito.
She further claimed that the presidential children have started to use drugs.
Pinasusuklaman ko pa ang pag-alok ng mag-inang si Sandro ng droga ang aking mga anak at iba pang mga kamag-anak. Yan ang hindi ko na mapapalampas.
Meanwhile, Palace Press Officer Undersecretary Attorney Claire Castro dismissed the allegations as acts of desperation.
This is definitely a desperate move. Ang pinag-uusapan sa peaceful rally ay patungkol sa di umanong korupsyon. Ano ang dahilan ni Senator Imee para ang sarili niyang kapatid ay siraan niya?
Castro noted that the president underwent drug testing before his campaign in the 2022 elections, which yielded a negative result. She also questioned Senator Imee's motives, saying the remarks seemed intended to discredit both the president and the First Lady.
Anong klaseng kapatid si Senator Imee? Anong klaseng Pilipino si Senator Imee?
For his part, Davao City Representative Pulong Duterte renewed his call for all government officials to undergo drug testing. He emphasized that the resistance to drug testing only fuels suspicion.
Ilocos Norte Representative Sandro Marcos has issued a statement after his aunt, Senator Imee Marcos, accused President Bongbong Marcos and First Lady Liza Marcos of using illegal drugs. Congressman Sandro said it pains him to see how low Senator Imee has gone, claiming she is using a web of lies aimed at destabilizing the government. He stressed that the allegation against his father and the First Lady is not only false, but also dangerously irresponsible. Congressman Sandro concluded with a quote, "Hindi ito asal ng isang tunay na kapatid." Alright.
Well, sa totoo lang, alam mo, yung the nation or the country or the platform of governance that you have been blessed with when you won your elections is not your playground na magbatuhan kayo ng salita ng ganyan. Number two, alam kung totoo at alam mo palang adik ang brother mo, ba't mo kinampan niya? Yan ang tanong dyan.
Why did you push him?
Why did you push him,
to
diba?
be the president of
And
this country?
If you have a problem, di kayo mag-usap, pero wag niyo po gagamitin sana yung diba, yung supposedly a peaceful rally. As your, diba, you use the media, diba, mag-usap kayo magkakapatid.
Pero of course, a lot of people are saying that she actually hijacked the rally. That's why it ended earlier than it is expected dahil dapat nga until today yung peaceful rally ng Iglesia.
Sabi nila, nag-panic button daw yung mga organizers because yung opening message nila was walang politiko, walang call for resignation.
They didn't
all of a
invite
sudden may
any
ganyan.
Political figure, ganun sabi nila. Oo. So we'll see, because of course, ang Malacanang naman has already issued their statement through Yusek Claire Castro sa kanyang blog.
Yeah.
Pero I don't think that's official.
Hindi official. It's under her own personal assessment yan. But I'm sure mag-release sila in the coming days. Alright, Executive Secretary Bersamin and Budget Chief Pangandaman have resigned. That comes following former Representative Saldico's allegations linking them to the flood control anomaly. Here's the report.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has accepted the resignations of Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin and Budget Chief Amina Pangandaman. Palace Press Officer Attorney Claire Castro confirmed both officials resigned out of delicadeza, saying they voluntarily stepped down to help address the investigation into flood control projects efficiently.
Both officials respectfully offered and tendered their resignations out of delicadeza after their departments were mentioned in allegations related to the flood control anomaly currently under investigation.
Bersamin was previously linked by former DPWH official Roberto Bernardo to alleged kickbacks involving flood control funds, while Pangandaman was accused by former Representative Zaldico of involvement in questionable budget insertions. The Marcos administration recently dismissed Co's accusations, yet the palace said the resignations were necessary to allow for an unhampered investigation.
Hindi po natin masasabi na ang mga aligasyon ni Saldico ay seryoso. Pero kung anuman ang kanyang mga nasabi ay maaaring ito ang nagbigay ng dahilan para sa dalawang mga magigiting nating mga secretaries na sila mismo ang voluntaryong mag-resign sa kanilang posisyon para mabigyan daan ang malalimang pag-iimbestiga sa mga maanumalyang flood control projects.
Finance Secretary Ralph Recto is now appointed as the new Executive Secretary, assuming the role informally known as the Little President.
Surprise, yeah, but work has to continue. Essentially, I think the role of the ES is just governance. So, taong maaari ka doon. Wala naman talaga Little President. You cannot do miracles.
Presidential Assistant for Investments and Economic Affairs Frederick Go will take over Recto's role in the Finance Department. Meanwhile, Rolando Toledo, a Budget Undersecretary, will serve as officer in charge of the Budget Department.
Actually, ninervyos ko yan. I was surprised actually. Nagulat ako. Nanginginig pa nga ako ngayon.
The palace also confirmed the resignation of Adrian Bersamin of the Presidential Legislative Liaison Office, a relative of the Executive Secretary, also linked to budget insertion allegations.
These leadership changes reinforce the President's commitment to strengthening institutions. The Office of the President assures the public that all agencies will continue to operate without interruption and with the same commitment to effective governance and public service.
Let's now bring in veteran campaign strategist Alan German.
Alan, thank you for joining us on the show.
Hi, Sir Diego, Ma'am Angel, daming pag-uusapan.
I
know.
There's a lot of stuff going on, man. A lot on pa.
It's really chaotic, and well, the last time we
Only
spoke was
Tuesday, huh?
during the elections, midterm. We talked about
Yes,
movements in government, but right now I'd like to ask about your analysis on the Secretary Lucas Bersamin issue.
I felt bad only in so much as right now, when there are calls for accountability, there are questions about the government's strength in terms of addressing this flood control scandal.
Yeah.
When the people are hoping to lean on the government's strength, I really find that the timing of this cabinet shakeup is quite off and frankly worrisome, because at a time when you're looking for strength and stability, the cabinet seems to, the president rather, seems to be saying, I will not, my confidence has been rocked in these secretaries, therefore I have accepted their resignations. It's a bit concerning for me. And prior to that, don't forget, he relieved BIR Commissioner Jun Lumaki
That's
for
right.
seemingly no reason. They haven't issued an official statement about that change yet. So
That's right.
it's quite disconcerting, honestly, that this late in the game, with so much at stake, at a time when the government should be muscle flexing, they are seemingly caving and scrambling, as it were, to make these key changes. And we're not talking about small cabinet positions here.
That's
We're
right.
talking about key placements in government.
Yeah, I'd like to kasi from a PR or optics perspective, I've heard a lot of opinions, and some would say na in the midst of the accusations na binabato ni Saldico, the first reaction should have been to ensure na yung strength mo was to stand by your cabinet officials, because you're portraying yourself as mali yung sinasabi mo eh. But yung accusations, parang you're somehow validating it by saying, I'm removing those implicated. So, what is your analysis on this from a PR standpoint?
Well, we call that audio, video, and behavior disconnect, di ba?
Yeah.
On one hand, they're issuing statements saying, in fact, yesterday, I don't know if you saw that, in Congress, they organized this whole press con wherein the members of the legislative arm were fiercely defending the president, discrediting the testimony of former Congressman Zaldico, and fiercely defending their former speaker, Martin Romualdez. And then the palace themselves issued a strong statement denouncing these allegations of former Congressman Zaldico. And yet, the people mentioned in this three-part video, with no evidentiary value, with no probative value, they accepted the resignation. Tama ka, Diego, they should have doubled down. They should have said, no, these allegations are baseless, and while we appreciate, for example, I'm using Sec Mina as an example, while we appreciate the delicadeza that is being shown by Sec Mina, no, we stand by her because we know that these allegations are false. So medyo whiplash yung mga tao doon.
But do you think this could be the end of the line for holding Pangandaman and Bersamin to account?
Well, technically, no, ma'am, no, kasi a resignation does not exonerate you. If they are guilty, if proven in proper courts, and again, given due process, di naman pwedeng video lang, mag-accuse lang tayo, guilty na agad, di ba? In a proper court, under the proper judicial process, or the ICI, as it were, should they investigate this matter, they should still be held accountable. In fact, the example that comes to mind is allegedly, sabi ni Ombudsman Boying Remulla, may arrest warrant na raw si former Senator Bong Revilla na matagal nang hindi senador. Pero ipapahuli pa rin daw, allegedly, di umano'y, this coming December 15. So, resignation should not exonerate you from accountability.
Okay, so what's going to happen now? Do you think it is also high time that the President address the public? Kasi as of now, I think yung mga ginagawa naman niya the past couple of weeks are just reporting, Q&A from between the press and him, diba? So do you think it's high time for him to address the public after Zaldico's video statement and this one, yung cabinet shake-up niya, and of course the statement of his sister, Imee Marcos, yesterday?
Well, ma'am, alam mo, I will quote Einstein. See, every opportunity I get, I will quote Einstein. Di ba sabi nila, insanity is doing the same thing over and over
Yeah.
again and expecting a different result. The president has undergone such quote-unquote explosive exposés before. When in fact the biggest example, the best example of that was when the vice president, a sitting vice president, actually pointed at the camera and threatened to kill them, and said that may assassin na raw siyang hinar,
Right.
etc., etc. He never spoke. He always addressed it through proxy. It's proxy. It's always either through the first lady, who at that time came out and said masakit bilang isang asawa, blah blah blah, nagpa-interview si First Lady Marcos. And Sandro and Congressman Sandro Marcos, yung anak, especially nung sinabing ipapatapon yung bangkay ng ni FM Senior sa Naga. It was Kong Sandro spoke up. He has never actually addressed these very fiery statements against him. And look at how that worked out.
Yeah.
Look at how that worked out. Parang people did not get the idea that if you push this president too far, he'll maybe step back. But if you push him too far, he will push you back.
That's right.
He has never pushed back. So maybe now is the time he should issue an equally fiery statement, defending himself, defending the institution, and saying that,
Right.
yes, I am still in charge.
That's right, Alan. No, kasi I'd like to ask you, back-to-back explosive statements against him. One from Saldico. Although kahit walang probative value, pero it has a PR value as well. One from Imee Marcos. Ngayon, is this, do you think, yung magiging start ng Achilles heel ng president? Because if Pinoy had the SAF issue that brought down his popularity, PGMA had Hello Garci, NBNZTE that brought her down. You had Erap's Jose Velarde. Each popular president had an Achilles heel that brought them
Pinoy had
popularity going down. No, is this the start? Do you think of the PBBM's number going down?
100%, I will say that definitely his approval and his reputation will take a hit. Reputational hit to definitely on the president and the institution. But I'll say something that might be a little bit controversial. I venture, if I was a betting man, of course we need to get a baseline first, and we need about 8 to 12 days to measure that. No?
Yeah.
Yung sentiment scan. But I would venture, if I was a betting man, baka mas malaki ang tama kay Senator Imee Marcos dito sa nangyari.
Okay.
Right,
Baka
right.
mas malaki ang tama. For the reasons that you and Ma'am Angel were talking about before I came on. Precisely because of that. It seems self-serving. Parang it is a violation of everything the Filipino stands for in
Correct.
terms of family values. Tapos, hindi courage ito eh. Di ba? There's a big difference between courage and betrayal.
Yes.
Ang so far dumadating, and this is very quick and dirty sentiment scan. The sentiment scan seems to be, this was not courage. This was not, tumindig ako at para magsabi ng katotohanan. Seems to be initially, just looking at the initial numbers, ang dumadating is betrayal ito. Winalanghiya mo yung kapatid mo para sa sarili mong political gain. So,
Yun nga eh.
Oo nga eh.
let's see how that goes.
Kasi Alan, it's a Filipino thing that family is family no matter what eh.
And airing dirty laundry in public.
Yeah. Kasamaan ng isa, kasamaan ng lahat. Parang gano'n eh, di ba?
Yes, ma'am. And you know, ang problema pa, Ilocano sila.
Yeah.
The most regionalistic people in the Philippines. I mean, these are, wala nga, di ba, lahat nga, join the bituka eh. Yan ang Ilocano eh, di ba?
Tight-knit.
Talagang they're clannish.
Oh.
So, I don't know if that was necessarily a good move from the senator.
Yeah nga eh. But what do you think is her gameplay here? When she came up to that stage, she presented herself as the one who kept Bongbong, kept President Bongbong under control. Parang naglilinis ng kanyang mess, di ba, yung mga ganon. The only Marcos in the family who wants to continue the legacy, ganon. So what do you think is her gameplay here?
Well, ma'am, alam mo, if you look at if you draw parallelisms, you will notice that it's exactly in the same vein as former Congressman Zaldico's videos, wherein he said, "I'm going to expose all of this. My life is in danger. I'm the one who delivered these luggages. But by the way, hindi ako nakinabang. Wala akong pakinabang ni Singkong Duling, wala akong pakinabang dyan. So lahat sila madumi, I am clean. So this is actually the same, this actually landed in the same way when you listen to the senator's speech. Alam kong drug addict, tiniis ko. I'm the one who kept it together. I tried to talk him in some sense into him. And yet, kung sinabi mo yun noong 2022, bombshell yan. Pero ngayon na sinabi mo ng 2025, ang dami na nangyari. Sinuportahan mo pa rin yung pagkapangulo.
She even pushed it.
Mo pa rin.
Oo. She was the brainchild of a UniTeam. She even said that.
And then she even said she was the one who convinced VP Inday Sara to drop down to vice, to run under as the running mate of her brother, whom at that time she claims she already knew was
Exactly.
quote unquote, and I'm trying to be very very safe here, who according to the senator was already drug addled. So it does not compute eh. Hindi selfless in the thing, ma'am eh. So sorry, what a roundabout way to answer your question.
Yeah.
What is her gameplay? I think obviously self-interest. If you're really going to analyze it, it's self-interest. She probably did the calculus in her head and thought, you know what, this administration's going down. I might as well completely and unequivocally jump ship and be the catalyst for whatever perceived downfall will happen.
Oh well, we have a lot of questions but unfortunately we don't have much time. But for the meantime, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras. I hope we could invite you again. That was campaign strategist Alan German. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good morning.
Now, the anti-corruption rally at the EDSA People Power Monument, organized by the United People's Initiative, or UPI, is now on its third day. Let's check the situation on the ground. We have mobile journalist Imee Atienza. Imee, kamusta na yung mga nagpaprotesta dyan ngayon?
Yes, good morning, Angela Diego. Kung makikita niyo naman sa aking likuran ay wala pa masyadong tao no, dito sa EDSA People Power Monument. Ang kwento daw kasi niyan simula kagabi, nung natapos yung programa ng bandang alas 10 ng gabi, ay umuwi muna yung mga rallyista at yung ilang miyembro ng mga protest groups na dumalo dito mismo sa EDSA People Power Monument. Pero babigyan lang kayo ng konting nangyari, background doon sa kung ano yung nangyari kagabi. So nakita na rin dito si Congressman Kiko Barzaga at yun nga nasabi na rin niya dito na niya nga daw magbitiw sa pwesto si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. Bukod pa dyan, nakita rin natin si former Congressman Mike Defensor kung saan nga sabi niya dapat daw magsalita na si resigned Executive Secretary Bersamin, pati na rin si former DBM Secretary Amina Pangandaman tungkol nga dito sa mga kickbacks na sinasabi ni Zaldico sa kanyang naging pahayag sa mga nagdaang araw. So far, abangan pa natin Angela Diego, yung programa daw na magsisimula ng alas 2 ng hapon dito, Angela Diego.
Amy, given na yung kinat short ng INC ng rally nila, hindi natin tutuloy yung third day, do you expect na madami pa rin ng supporters pupunta ngayon dyan sa monument, given na tapos na yung kabila?
Well, yun yung sinasabi dito, Diego, dahil nga natapos na yung sa may Quirino Grandstand. Marami ang nagsasabi na dito na diretso sa may EDSA People Power Monument para nga patuloy ng protesta nila. Yung tinatawag nila dito, Rally for Accountability, Integrity, and Justice. So yan yung mga patuloy nilang panawagan dito. So parang ini-expect nila ay mas marami yung pupunta dito kumpara ng mga nakaraang araw. Yung estimate din kasi nasa higit libo yung pupunta. So yun, abangan lang din natin kung ano pa mangyayari dito, lalo-lalo na kung sino-sino ba yung mga personalities na kailangan pa nating abangan at magbibigay ng kanilang pahayag patungkol nga din dito sa kanilang protesta.
Paano ba yung mga naging mood last night doon sa kanilang naging programa? Because I believe, sinasabi nga ng Quezon City government na may mga restrictions yung kanilang mga pagprotesta dyan sa area na yan, katulad ng pagdadala ng mga placards or shouting yung mga PBBM resign. Did that happen last night?
Actually, kung babalikan natin, Angela, hindi lang last night, pati nung pinakaunang araw nila dito. At marami na sasabi na yun nga, sa permit daw kasi nitong rally na pinangungunahan nga ng United People's Initiative bawal daw talagang mabanggit ang pangalan ni President Bongbong Marcos nor masabi na magbitiw na siya, mag-resign na siya sa kanyang pwesto bilang Pangulo. No? Pero naririnig natin yung panawagan nila, minsan nga na i-chant pa nila. At yun din yung nangyari no, kagabi, lalo na dahil pinanood dito mismo sa EDSA People Power Monument yung naging payag din ng kapatid ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos na si Senator Imee Marcos, kung saan nga nilaglag niya ang kanyang kapatid tungkol nga sa itong issue naman ng pagdadrug. So, mas naging maingay kagabi yung tao kumpara ng mga tao dun sa first night at titingnan din natin kung ano pa nga yung mangyayari tonight. Pero yun, marami pa rin talaga yung nagpo-protesta dahil hindi na nga lang din daw ito gathering ng UPI, kundi naging open for all din siya. So may mga independent individuals, pati na rin ilang mga tauhan na nanggaling sa iba't ibang bahagi nga ng Metro Manila ang pumunta na rito dahil naging open for all na nga siya.
Amy, until what time sila dyan and ano yung situation sa traffic na pwedeng asahan sa at least dyan sa bandang EDSA People Power Monument?
Kung babalikan lang din natin, Diego, yung nangyari dito ng mga nagdaang araw, around afternoon pa kasi, from 12 noon to 2 p.m. Doon sinisimulan na sarhan itong White Plains Avenue. So ito dito sa gilid ko. So far, kung makikita nyo naman, passable pa. Hindi pa pasarado yung mga daan dito, no? Pero yung inaabangan din natin, no, dahil nga baka raw kami yung tao na pupunta dito ngayong huling araw ng protesta, syempre inaasahan na natin na mas bibigat pa yung daloy ng trapiko dito mismo sa may kahabaan nga ng White Plains, pati na rin sa may EDSA.
Alright, maraming salamat sa iyong oras. That was our mobile journalist, Imee Atienza, reporting live from EDSA. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. Good morning. You're still watching News and Views here on One News. House party leaders are standing by President Bongbong Marcos and former House Speaker Martin Romualdez. They dismissed former Ako Bicol Representative Zaldico's allegations as pure invention. Here is the report.
Political party leaders in the House expressed disappointment over former Congressman Zaldico's allegations during the weekend. For one, National Unity Party President and House Deputy Speaker Ronnie Puno questioned the claim that President Bongbong Marcos had to intervene with CO, then Appropriations Committee Chair, to push a 100 billion peso budget insertion for 2025.
Alam nyo, hindi na namin sana papansinin ito Di ba? Kasi puro malabo yung mga kwento niya Sinong presidente ang kailangan makiusap sa isang committee chairman sa House? No? At hindi naman niya kayang i-deliver lahat yan. So bakit sa papakiusapan ng napakaraming makapangyarihan na tao, 'di ba? Para gawin yung hindi naman niya talaga kayang gawin.
Puno also challenged CO's claim that he did not profit from alleged budget kickbacks, asking for proof of the source of his assets and luxury properties.
Di saan nanggaling yung mga eroplano? Saan nanggaling yung mga helicopter? Yung mga bahay niya sa Europe at kung saan-saan, 'di ba?
Puno urged him to return to the country and gave a sworn statement to verify his claims. Lawmakers also rejected allegations that former Speaker Martin Romualdez threatened CO's life.
I think the Speaker, having served the House of Representatives for more than 3 years, all of us can testify that he has no inch of violence in his system. Wala pong violente sa sistema ng former Speaker. That's why the entire House voted him twice as a Speaker.
Party leaders also believe someone else may be using CO to serve personal interests.
Definitely, somebody has to benefit from all of this. Sino ba talaga magbe-benefit ito? Definitely not the President, but because the President is the one being accused of by Zaldico.
Siguro yung kalaban ni Presidente, di ba? Kasi kaya nila in-atake para mag-benefit sila.
Despite the allegations, Puno said the supermajority still has their full trust in the President.
Di ba? Siya yung nagtatago, hindi yung iba. Siya yung umiiwas ng mga tanong, hindi yung iba. So ituturo niya ngayon yung marami nang na-testify sa different investigative agencies. Sa tingin ko, we have to take all of this with a grain of salt. He's not credible, period.
And I agree, what made him less credible was the mere fact na sinabi niya wala siyang kinuha.
Yun
Kay Tiso. So, Iba ang usapan, okay, umamin ako, may kinuha ko, pero hindi lang naman ako. Oo, di ba? Pero hindi,
Pero
wala daw
to portray
siyang...
yourself as innocent
Ay, he's
and
not a hero.
suddenly the hero
No,
of
sorry.
this whole mess, of course, a lot of people are, di ba, in question.
Kaya nga sabi ni Alan Herman, wala namang probative value yan eh. Di ba?
Oo. Well, on a legal standpoint talaga, wala
Oo,
eh.
tas sasabihin mo, and also walang moral value and social value.
More on optics yan.
Kasi-
na saying na, ginawa niyo akong poster boy ng, ng flood control.
Parang sinabi
corruption.
nila yung
I'll drag you down. Drag
kay
down.
Yusek Bernardo tsaka kay Bryce Hernandez at kay Alcantara, di ba?
Yeah.
They're pointing fingers, but they're also saying, kumuha din kami. Oh, kasi nakisama na rin kami, nagkamali kami. Eh hindi, ikaw, wala akong kinuha kahit piso. Di ba? Ano ba yun? Hindi ko maintindihan yun. So, and some, well, not hero, but some are calling him a savior on the other side, which he is not, di ba?
Yeah.
He is not.
Yeah, of course, a lot of people are saying, sige, para patunayan mo yung yung mga statements
Muwi ka.
Muwi ka dito, pa-notarize mo under oath, para, di ba, mas makita natin na talagang you're really standing by
Or
what
pauwi
you're
na siya
saying.
ala Arnie Teves, di ba? Ipa-Interpol nyo na yan. Di ba? Kasuhan nyo, pa-Interpol nyo.
Actually, di ba, a lot of people are also saying, mga legal luminaries are saying na iba-iba yung mga nila na, sige, hindi natin siya makuha pa, hindi ang tawag doon, yung mabawi yung kanyang passport because wala naman talaga siyang kaso at this point, 'di ba? Totoo naman, which is
Pero may
true.
pending natin sa ombudsman,
Pero sinabi
'di ba?
kasi ni wala pa. Sabi ni Congressman Toby Tiangco, there's a section in our constitution na pwedeng gawin daw 'yon because ang nakalagay doon is for national interest. National security, gano'n, 'di ba? Pero yun nga lang, sasabihin din nila, anong national security concern if hindi siya mapauwi.
Ako hindi ako lawyer pero parang there's no national security concern because yung atake niya was attacking the president sa values directly. He didn't say may kuha akong ipaplano. He didn't say things like that eh. So walang concern. Not like kay Arnie Teves. He was tagged as a terrorist. And he had a pending murder, di ba? Murder case against him kay the late governor. So, yun ang naging issue. Ito kasi is a corruption issue na hindi pa filed.
Basta ako lagi ko tinatanong, and we also asked that to Congressman Toby Tiangco during the special coverage, diba, na sinasabi nga niya na November pa noon, nagalit si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos, pero bakit July na nung nagsabi siya about this flood control mess?
Yeah, yan ang question din dyan.
Alright,
the Department of Justice said there's currently no evidence linking lawmakers or project proponents to DPWH officials involved in anomalous flood control projects. In an interview with Storycon, DOJ Prosecutor General Richard Fadulion noted that testimonies from DPWH officials during the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearings could be considered evidence, but stressed they alone are insufficient to secure convictions. He emphasized that strong substantive evidence is required to hold those responsible accountable.
Sa ngayon, wala pa po talagang ebidensya kami na hawak, no, na maglilink doon sa mga proponent from the DPWH officials. We also have to consider na if you look at the whole story, meron ho talagang involvement yan from down, which is DPWH, from the bidding, all the way up to the proponent.
Fadulion also mentioned that former Congressman Zaldico may submit a notarized affidavit from abroad through the consulate. He added that at present there is no basis to arrest Ko.
Sa ngayon po, wala pong basihan para hulihin siya kasi remember sir, there is no case which is filed against him yet. So it cannot be considered a fugitive such that if he goes to the embassy, which is considered also part of Philippine soil, the Philippine laws can be extended and implemented.
So yun, kaya nga 'di ba yung lawyer ni former Congressman Zaldico, si Attorney Rondain, laging sinasabi pag ini-interview siya, asan ang ebidensya? Asan ang kaso? 'Di ba? Kasi wala naman pa talaga until now eh. That's why a lot of people, ang buong bayan natin hanggang ngayon sinasabi na naiinip sila. When we talk to Yusek Castro regarding this na kailan ba meron may makakasuhan? Sabi naman niya, may mga nakasuhan na doon sa ilang mga flood control projects. Pero yun nga, people are also asking ito lang ba, yung mga maliliit na isda lang ba yung kakasuhan natin? Of course,
Yan ang fear.
Oo, di ba? Itong deeply rooted,
Yeah.
'di ba, system na to sa gobyerno na to, sa DPWH ay hindi naman gagalaw yan kung walang mataas na power, 'di ba? That would
Alright.
allow it.
Let's also get insights from Dindo Manhit, President and CEO of Strat-Based Institute. Good morning and thank you for joining us, sir.
Officials. We also have
listeners.
Okay. Alright, okay. So we would like to get your reaction po doon sa, of course, yung nangyayari po ngayon sa atin, yung pagsasalita ni Senator Imee Marcos against his brother, her brother rather,
And also
the
yung
First
cabinet
Lady.
shakeup.
Yes.
Yes. Mas gusto kong pagtuunan ng pansin to look at the cabinet shakeup
Alright.
because maybe it's a result of what the demand of the public. And the public demand is that they want accountability and even jail time for those who will be seen
Exactly.
through evidences on this issue. So yun ang dapat pagtuunan. Yung kay the one with Senator Imee is simply maybe political noise trying to destabilize his own brother.
Yes, sir. With regards to shakeup, well, we spoke with also Alan Herman kanina, and he was saying na at the very least, the president should have shown support sa kanyang cabinet officials to show na talagang he believes na wala silang guilt regarding the accusations of Saldico. What do you think, ano po reaction nyo doon?
That's also true na if you say that there's really no basis for all this accusation, he should have stood up. No, it's just that I think Executive Secretary Bersamin has been mentioned as to be replaced because of some inefficiency in the office of the president. So I think it's just that it happened at this time after the statement of former Congressman Saldi. I'm so sorry, there's so much noise. No?
Yes, so it's okay, no problem, sir.
Right. Okay, so what do you think is going to be the impact into the investigation to flood control corruption? We all know na the reason why they resigned yesterday because nga na-implicate yung mga pangalan nila dito sa video statement ni former Congressman Zaldico. But of course, people are asking, is this going to be the end of holding these people accountable?
I would always comment based on our data. I agree, people are angry. People would like accountability. So what is more important now from the Filipino public, and it showed in our September and October data, is that there needs to be an arrest and imprisonment for those that have been mentioned, not only by Saldico, but also by all the evidences that came out, even in the Senate hearings or the filings in the ICI.
But does your data also show, sir, na how much longer can the Filipino wait for accountability? I mean, past presidents have had tipping points, no? So, do you think pwede pa umabot ito, February, March, nang wala talagang makulong?
It needs to happen before the end of the year, the initial, and it should continue by the first quarter of next year. That is what the people are demanding right now.
And we're also, of course, sabi nila, we also have to take a look at the middle class and how they will behave kasi ang middle class ang isang important sector din na usually would start to show whether the numbers will go down or not. So ano po ang tugon ng middle class with these issues?
When we speak of our data coming from surveys done by Pulse Asia, Social Weather Station, what you see is a broad sector. Not only the middle class, which is a small sector, but even the Filipino masses or the lower middle class. No, but what is consistent is their really demand for accountability, and accountability means jail time, and maybe further conviction at the soonest possible time for these individuals.
Doon po sa usapin ng public trust, no, sa gobyerno natin, and I believe the last few surveys po, yung mga previous surveys, nakikita na po natin yung pagbaba ng trust rating ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. And given the situation, nakikita po ba natin talaga yung continuous na pagbaba?
Yan ay that thing will be addressed kung may gagawin ng gobyerno. No? Kaya importante ang role ng Justice Department in developing these cases. Importante ang role ng Ombudsman in initiating this arrest or conviction. No? So then that will reflect on the President's performance. So that's a great challenge now. The government or the administration of Bongbong Marcos needs to make things happen, then this will benefit in his behalf if the public is satisfied with the actions that they took.
Now, are the numbers of the Vice President then also affected whether the numbers of the President go up or down?
They are within the same range of numbers. Of course, the Vice President has recovered somewhat because the focus is not on her right now.
Yeah.
The focus is on the flood control project. But if this flood control project, as perceived by some, is really flood control issues that dated back until the Duterte administration, she will be affected. So kailangan, if kung titingnan natin yung executive order ng Pangulo, it's until 2015. That means Aquino, latter part of Aquino, the whole of the time of Duterte. So kung biglang umabot doon yung investigation at makarating, and some are saying that there are enough evidences to reflect that these contractors even grew bigger and could just continue under the Marcos administration, but started growing bigger during the time of Duterte.
That's right.
All right.
I'd like to ask you also, no, kasi there has been a shift in perception sa mga institutions. In the past, medyo mas mataas ang Senate over the lower house, but recent numbers have shown na medyo tumataas na ang trust para sa lower house over the Senate. With all that this is happening right now, sir, ano yung mga numbers nakikita niya for both the upper and the lower house?
Hindi namin nakikita yung pagtaas ng House dahil ang tingin ng tao, both the Senate and the House are complicit to all this corruption.
Okay.
So kailangan talagang it's an attack on our institutions. Ang mataas ang respeto pa nga is to the military and to the police and some government officials. I'm talking about the Ombudsman as high respect, and even the leadership on the investigation by Secretary Dizon also. So there are parts of the executives that are benefiting from this, but the Senate, under the leadership of Senator Soto and investigations of Senator Ping Lacson, is gaining again what they lost. Kasi nakikitang objective sila.
Yeah.
Diba? Hindi yung pinagtatakpan.
All right, thank you so much for sharing your time with us. I know very busy po kayo at the moment. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Dindo Manhit, President and CEO of Strike-Based Institute. Now, the Interior Department says it will investigate statements calling for President Marcos's resignation as they may be considered seditious. DILG Secretary John Vic Remulla said remarks made during the EDSA protest, quote, have no place in a civil society. He emphasized that freedom of expression comes with responsibility and acts inciting sedition threaten the state. He also stressed the government has a duty to prevent any statements seeking the downfall of the administration.
Calling an act of sedition is not curtailing, it's dangerous to the state. Every citizen is accorded the right to free speech, but they must have the corresponding responsibility to behave in all civility.
Don't go away because we're not done yet. Please stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching News and Views here on One News. The Quezon City local government has temporarily shut down 14 lechon shops in La Loma after some pigs tested for African swine flu. Let's discuss that with the QC Business Permits and Licensing Department Head, Margie Mejia. Thank you for joining us, Margie.
Yeah, good morning and thank you for having me today.
All right, with the recent shutdown of these shops mentioned, how long do you think this will be in effect?
At the moment, I cannot give you any definite date that the temporary lifting of closure order can be... hello?
Yes, go ahead.
We can hear you po.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. At the moment, I cannot give you a definite date on how long the temporary closure order will be in effect because we're still disinfecting in the process of disinfecting the establishments, and also we're still awaiting for the recommendation from the City Veterinary Department, the City Health Department, whether or not we can already allow the establishments to resume operations.
Paano po na-detect yung African swine flu sa finished product po or nag-slaughter sila sa shops?
Dahil bare months po ngayon, the City Veterinary Department conducted routine inspections together with the Bureau of Animal Industry, and nakita po during the routine inspection, nag-testing po sila. And yun nga po, nung lumabas po yung testing, there are 4 that tested positive, and then we received a recommendation to immediately close down these establishments from the BAI, hence the issuance of a closure order. So
sa Loloma lang po ang may problema. How about yung others within Quezon City din? Kasi may mga ibang areas din po na may mga lechon na binibenta.
Yeah, the reason why we ordered the temporary shutdown is because we wanted to isolate yung pong ASF natin dun sa Loloma. And shutting them down effectively isolate ASF virus in that area. Kaya po yun. So, sa ibang man pong na-test na positive. So, dyan lang po sa Loloma.
But in overall po in QC, ano po ba ang pag-aaral natin tungkol po sa status ng ASF?
Safe naman po lahat ng karne sa buong Quezon City. At wala naman po ibang na-test na positive kundi dyan lang po sa area na yan.
Are we also looking at other food establishments or pork-related businesses under monitoring po for ASF?
Yes, yun po ang ginagawa ngayon ng ating City Veterinary Department. To ensure lang po na wala pong ibang ASF virus dito na kumakalat po sa Quezon City.
Okay.
Lagi naman po yan, regular naman po yan ginagawa ng ating City Veterinary Department.
Okay. Sabi po ninyo, sabi po ng BAI, consumers are reminded to buy pork and pork products from accredited establishments and to follow standard food safety practices. Ngayon po, para po sa point of view po ng ating mga kapatid, paano po ba nila malalaman kung ang isang shop ay accredited?
Dapat po yung mga itinitindang karne ay meron pong tatak ng NMIS na dumaan dito sa National Meat Inspection Service. At syempre, dapat po rehistrado po sa city government. May kaukulang business permit po ito dahil kasama po sa ancillary requirement o permits na kinakailangan ng mga nagtitinda ng mga karne ay yung city veterinary clearance. So yun po, kasama po yun. So dapat po, bibili po kayo sa rehistrado sa city, and at the same time, yung pong tingnan nyo po na yung mga karne binibili nyo ay kung may tatak o may certification mula sa National Meat Inspection Service.
So kung wala pong tatak, kunyari sa mga palengke, kasi may mga small markets all along Quezon City, so pwede ko i-determine na hindi ito inspected?
Yes, opo, hindi po ito dumaan sa NMIS. Kaya po, maging mag-exercise po tayo ng due diligence pag bumibili po tayo ng karne. Siguraduhin po natin na may papel galing sa NMIS.
Alright, siguro po yung paalala na lang po ng mga dapat gawin ng mga hog raisers to make sure na talaga pong hindi po makontaminate yung other areas with ASF.
Yeah, paalala lang po na kapag po yung pong ating sa mga ating hog raisers na panatilihin pong malinis at keep the standards of sanitation dun po sa inyong mga places of operation, and at the same time po makipag-coordinate po lagi tayo sa Bureau of Animal and Industry.
All right, thank you Margie Mejia, Quezon City
Thank you po.
Business Permits and Licensing Department Head. All right, the leptospirosis cases are on the rise in Cebu following consecutive flooding in the province. Health authorities have reported 23 new cases since Typhoon Tino struck, adding to the 90 cases recorded from January to October with 11 deaths. In response, the Cebu provincial government has formed a leptospirosis task force, mobilizing infectious disease and nephrology experts to monitor and manage the situation. Preventive measures, including the distribution of doxycycline, are being implemented in the hardest hit areas to reduce further infections.
Yung leptospirosis na is a zoonotic disease. So, this is passed from animals to humans, and then this can be found sa contaminated water. So after Tino, a lot of people were exposed to flood water, which may have been contaminated with leptospirosis.
In other news, Quiapo Church has announced the route for the traditional Black Nazarene procession in January 2026. The procession will begin at the Quirino Grandstand, where millions of devotees are expected to gather for the annual event. Church officials said preparations are already underway for the religious celebration. To ease crowd movement and ensure security, vendors will be barred from the vicinity of Quiapo Church from January 7 to 9.
Now, the Philippine Tech Ball team is training hard in Pangasinan as they prepare for the sport's first appearance as a medal event in the 2025 Southeast Asian Games. Mobile journalist Denise Valdez Sancho has the report.
Tech ball is gearing up for a historic debut as a medal sport in the 2025 Southeast Asian Games. And for the Philippine team, preparation started long before the competition. The national tech ball athletes have been deep in training in Pangasinan with a camp that began as early as October. Fresh off the Asian Youth Games, the team wasted no time.
So right after po Ma'am Denise ng Asian Youth Games, napunta na po kami sa Bani, Pangasinan para po training. So we started sa pinaka-basic po sa ball control, pati na rin po sa strength and conditioning.
From fundamentals and conditioning, the athletes are now sharpening their skills on the table as the competition draws nearer. But for many, one question remains. What exactly is tech ball?
Parang napakasimpleng explanation po niya is maglalaro ka lang ng football sa isang ping-pong table.
Training days start as early as 5:30 a.m., a routine that has become standard for the 7 Filipino athletes bound for Thailand this year. They range from teenagers as young as 13 to players in their mid-20s, all preparing for individual, doubles, and mixed events. This will be the first time tech ball is included as a full medal sport in the SEA Games after being featured only as a demonstration event in its last edition. With a few weeks of preparation still ahead, the team hopes the country will continue to cheer them on.
Maraming salamat po at sana patuloy ninyong suportahan ang Philippine Tech Ball Federation.
Kapatid Denise Valdez Sancho, we are One News.
Ayun, so much to unpack. So much to unpack.
And to remind you, this is only today is only Tuesday. Ang dami mga pangyayari. Of course, yung yesterday, naputol bigla yung 'di ba, 3-day supposed 3-day rally ng INC, peace rally ng INC. At naging 2 days na lang. We'll see what's going to happen dun sa rally na dun sa EDSA.
November 30.
Yung
Today, meron pa today.
Where retired generals are there as well, no? And what else, diba? Abangan din nila yung November 30 na rally.
Yung trillion peso
march. These are the same people who organized the rally nung September 21.
Ay nako, sa mga nahihilo at nairita dyan, ika nga, sabi lang ni Father Orbos, BTS. Diba?
Believe,
trust and surrender. Believe in the Lord, trust in the Lord, and surrender everything to the Lord. And that wraps up today's episode of News and Views.
Join us again tomorrow. I'm Angelo Castro.
And I'm Angelo Castro, the third kapatid. We are One News.
All sides, all the time.